Hi,
Oh, hi.
can
Can
you
you hear me?
see me or no?
Can't see you yet, but it could just be that it's coming
Well,
on.
I might not have turned it on either. Better?
Yeah, what's up?
Not too much. It's been, a weekend.
Is
Been
it?
busy. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I've been feeling it's gonna sound weird, but I feel the physical effects of the solar flares.
Okay. Um, yeah, I was hoping that somebody else did.
So it's been more than just a weekend for you then probably. It's been the week.
Yeah. Um, I had some pretty bad vertigo. What day was it? Let me look here, see if I wrote it down. That was on the third, Thursday.
Yeah.
And I couldn't shake it. It didn't matter what I did. I even tried to realign the crystals in my ears, and that didn't work. So I was just off kilter the whole day. And then I had a migraine on the first that bled into the second, and then another one on the fifth.
I'm getting two things as you talk about this. And before I get into that, I want to make a little side comment. I hardly ever get headaches, and I've had one today. I still have one now, and it started yesterday. And it's I f- it feels electromagnetic to me. That's what I'm like hearing about it because it doesn't feel like a normal headache. It doesn't feel like other headaches I've had. It feels different. I don't know how to describe it though. But the two things coming up are yes, the solar flares because we actually had a solar mass ejection followed by all the radiation that's been ejected from that. So it was a 1-2 kind of punch. And I started feeling that around Thursday also. Second thing I get is this precedes Thursday, but I feel like there's been more, there's been a ramp up of spiritual warfare efforts. And this is going to sound really conspiracy theorist, but I have felt like for years, especially since 2016, they really began doing this on a large scale to people. That every once in a while, when you randomly out of nowhere feel out of sorts, not yourself, intrusive thoughts, um, mood swings, doesn't mean all the time it's going to be this, but there's a very particular flavor of this when it occurs that I've been gradually, every time it's been happening, I've been more and more feeling like it's an attack or that it's directed. And I don't believe in coincidences. I know you don't either. When this started happening about a week and a half ago for me, I started seeing a lot of videos on my news feed that just kind of came up. I haven't been researching them. I haven't been talking about them. No one's been talking about it to me around the subject of technological espionage with sound and radio frequency waves. So I literally told my guides out loud when I saw a video on it. I watched a documentary about it on Wednesday, I think. I literally said out loud, like, I'm listening because it was just too brought up in my periphery for me to ignore. So I honestly think there are large factors at play right now. There's a bunch of other stuff going on right now too. It could also be a little bit of just sensory overload. Everybody's feeling everything, and there's lots of different things to feel and see. There's the underground child trafficking ring that's being exploited or it's being exposed right
Exposed.
now. And it's not going away. There's a lot of momentum behind it. There's extraterrestrial things going on right now. There's uh, interference with the wars on the planet. There's technological innovations that are really, really scary that are happening. And
So I've got a few things.
yeah,
First of all, I had heard kind of through the grapevine kind of thing, things that keep popping up for me. And like you, I'm not necessarily researching them, but they pop up. One of them was frequencies and having frequencies that people go to bed with that they listen to all night long have
yeah.
been had other frequencies placed in there for like a 30 to 45 to an hour minute span while they're
Hmm.
sleeping.
Yeah.
So they don't realize it. Um, and it's bad frequency. It's not frequency that they should be listening to when they're sleeping.
Hmm.
It brings about, nightmares and things like that.
Hmm.
So they listened to it when they were awake and found out the frequencies shift somewhere in that,
Hmm.
8 to 10 hour time frame.
Yeah.
So now I'm a little bit of afraid to listen to frequencies when I go to bed at night.
Have you been doing that? You listen to videos like that?
I have.
Mm.
I haven't recently. It's been probably a month or so since I listened to any of that.
You know,
I also,
you can make that yourself. And this might actually be a message for me too, because I've been kind of had a flame put under my butt from spirit and my guides, really ushering me to create a space of learning for people rather than being the practitioner for things. Because I was shown last year that the type of energy healing or soul healing that I do, is teachable. I never thought it was. It might not even be widely accessible, or maybe it is, but it just requires hands-on approach or something different than the norm. But there could be that going on here too, because at one point I was thinking about releasing videos like that where I would create it myself. There'd be nothing manufactured from any other source that I'd be putting together with sound. Because sound is so simple, but it's also easily accessible to a lot of folks. But if I were to make certain videos like that and then just put it on a loop or something, um,
yeah.
but you're right. There's a lot of that
And I
crap
don't know
there.
which creators were being
Yeah,
infiltrated. I don't
that's right.
know.
How do you vet that? I mean,
Yeah.
this
The other
leads,
thing is
yeah,
the Schumann resonance has been off the charts because I check
yeah,
that once in a while to see where it's at and how I'm feeling. So
hmm,
yeah, it
right.
kind of validates some of the things that I feel.
I think the reason that's happening is because there's so much manipulation going on with the weather.
Yep.
That's the first thing that pops up right away for me. Is that it's not the fact that one thing over here is being created or harbored or spoon fed. It's that it's happening to such a large degree. It's not just our government that's doing that with like Hurricane Helene recently. If you saw the radar of that thing, everybody I've been
Yep.
talking to has seen that. And they're doing
Yep.
it in China too. And they're doing it in Russia. And we've actually been at war with these major powers. I shouldn't even say we, these people who pretend they represent us, have been doing this secretly for about 3 years. They've ramped it up, which is around the same time that we started noticing so much of this global warming stuff come to a head. But I really feel like the global warming is being used as a scapegoat to sort of keep this under the radar, pun not intended,
It is.
where yeah, right. That I really feel like that. And
But if you buy an electric car, everything will be great.
yeah, fuck that. No way in hell I'm an electric car. Solar is another thing. I mean, solar would be okay if you have, but it's like you shouldn't just put all your eggs into one basket. You should have solar and you should have a generator and you should have water. But I saw something today. One of my friends sent me, oh, that felt good. I don't know if you heard that. I cracked my
I
neck.
did hear it.
Oh,
I
that
went to
was,
the chiropractor today
oh,
too, so yeah, that felt good.
oh boy, that was nice, man. What was I going to say? Tartaria Yep. Ionic energy, they harness that with their structures, and you can create electromagnetic currents from the ionosphere, and how a lot of that was shelved and destroyed and kind of wiped from history so that the um, the interests of the big tycoons and their conglomerates could juice us like a lemon socioeconomically, which is kind of why we still use gasoline powered cars because we've had the technology for about 100 years now to run off of water and hydrogen
Yep.
power in a
Yep.
very non-invasive way, very, very safe way. It doesn't have to run off pure hydrogen fuel, but you can actually get energy that way, and it's incredibly efficient. So,
Yeah, it keeps getting squashed because there's no money.
yeah. Um, so crazy stuff, just crazy, crazy stuff. It was a lot of this was coming up on Sunday too, or Saturday, during the gallery event that I did. So I had a group reading session, and I was surprised that came up because a lot of times I don't want to scare people. So first of all, I should just make a disclaimer. About 92 to 95% of everything that I channel, I don't disclose. I keep it to myself because just to put it blatantly, I've been traumatized as a kid, and I'm working through that about the backlash I've been given when I disclose that kind of stuff, when I let people know, because
When you're, yeah, when you're vulnerable, they take advantage of it. And
right. And my goal is to communicate. I want to communicate to people, and I understand the importance of meeting people where they are. But it's been kind of a double-edged sword for me. But a little bit more came through on that session. And I don't know, I probably scared a bunch of people shitless, but there was stuff coming up because I could still feel that people are wanting to believe that things are going to be okay as a coping mechanism. And I get that. I don't want to squash that. I want us to be as strong as we can be. But there seems to be this element of we got to be strong through truth. But there's just been so many people that are not, they're not even introduced to the shadow work that they should be doing to help them. Um, a good number of those people are never going to. And it's up to us to let them go. Many of us needing to learn how to let go as the highest form of love in that circumstance, which is way, way easier said than done. Um, I I'm still learning about that. Um, but time is approaching us. There's not that much time left for the big shifts and the big movements to happen. I think even before the end of this month, so much is going to come to the forefront, and people are going to be scratching their heads and just wondering what the fuck is true? What is North? Where is it? And
it's starting
there's like a
with
mass
North, yeah,
hysteria about it. And this
with
is,
North Carolina and the hurricane, things are really starting to ramp up.
I know, there's another one on the way, and
Yeah, I do. It's
it's
supposed to hit Thursday, I think.
it's even bigger. They're gonna 1-2 punch it. Um, oh, there was something else I was gonna say. What is it? Oh, here's the greater picture though. Here's the weirdness from it. Here's the silver lining to this dark cloud. And I've been getting this specific message for about 5 years that the rude awakening that a lot of people are getting is actually a blessing. In that, I mean, it's a curse, of course, but it's a blessing in that when we clutch our pearls, when we insist upon knowing what we know through the ways that we want to know to such an extent, we're going to have it shaken from our grasp so that we must, without an option to opt out of this or without any distraction, to at least initiate the steps on learning how we can be our own understanding of truth. And we can be our own filter of what's not true. But people, that's not something you can deliver. It's not even something I can say or give to anybody or anybody can. It's something that must and can only be facilitated within the self. Because the truth, what we're when we're talking about with truth is not a universally applied thing that can be replicated, which is something which is the core aspect of what we're clutching to. We want security. We don't actually want truth. A lot of us, and I've still got some of this going on. We all do, I think. Um, because it's been an evolutionary necessity for us to be safe or to feel safe. That's a much more accurate way to put it. To feel safe so that we can springboard from something, whether it be physically, like making a home, creating a community, having a defense system against warring tribes, or psychologically, in what guides us, what kind of operating system best benefits us when we're creating such structures like that. Socially, the institutionalization of things. So people are mourning the loss of that portion, and it's shadow work because it remains subconscious. But it's getting to the point where that subconscious conduit can no longer be hidden nearly at all anymore. There's no rock anybody could hide under. There's no sand dense enough to thrust your head into to quiet that out. But a lot of us are feeling the pull to just quiet that out, myself included, um, especially the sensitives of us. It's a lot. But basically, what I'm trying to say is the chaos, the noise, the static, the cacophonous reverberation, and the lack of orientation on where is true north based off of this, and this, which in the past would have all corresponded with one another to tell you what's true or to reassure you what's true, right? Cite your sources. The the thought being, you have all these different multiple sources all coming from different angles, seeming to correspond the same information. Therefore, that can make us feel a lot more comfortable saying that's true or claiming the truth to that evidence. But there exists no such thing now. If you look hard enough, you're going to confuse yourself to oblivion. But that's part of the gift. Ironically so. That's what I'm hearing. It doesn't mean I necessarily like it, being human alongside everybody else, but there's something in me that knows that this is a really, really big gift because it will catalyze people to seek truth. All we need to do is seek truth as a crucial, necessary first step. If you're at least seeking truth, there's a path for you towards salvation, right? So that's kind of how I see it. And we're grieving the steps along the way of how truth can transform, because you can maybe be on this step of an understanding, and then you'll be presented with some other information, or you'll have something within you uh, bubble forth, and that will catalyze the next step of your of the truth being revealed to you. Because a lot of times we conceptualize psychologically that truth is a thing that is arrived to, which is true, but we think that it's like a switch, or if you shine a light on something, the truth is there. But sometimes the steps getting you to the truth are needed, and often those steps are what we believe the truth to be in its whole, but they're parts of it. And we don't like that, because as human beings, we like to think in black or white terms. We like to uh, for the convention of how we understand things psychologically, how our brains actually function. Our brains don't like chaos and not knowing. So, but in the search within, the steps that I'm referring to are really just talking about the process that the mind takes to catch up with the spirit, with the soul, with what is channeled to us or through us. Even what I'm doing right now. When I was a kid, there's no way in hell I could articulate what I channel near to the extent that I can now. But even having said that, I still struggle immensely trying to uh, put to words what I get because, well, not it's not only
Your head
that, but
your head tries to figure it out before your mouth can spit it out.
right. Well, I mean, and I do a pretty good job. Uh, so I hear. I do the best that I possibly can, but even with that, what I channel and when are examples of the steps themselves also, because it's not the degree to which something is carved in stone, etched in time forever to be true or false as a quality of what I channel or what anybody else can channel, but it's what value do the words and the meaning that we derive or distill from the interaction with our communication that is the real value in what this work is about. That's why, if you refer to the Bible as a collection of stories, uh, they have their purpose, they have their utility, right? A lot of people take it literally. It wasn't meant to be taken literally. It's the best that we had or have, arguably, to convey what needs to be conveyed in a myriad of ways. Because if 10 people read the Bible and then, they all interpret it a different way, it's all meaningful to them, but the Bible has served its purpose on the higher realm. But not everybody can even understand it. In fact, a lot of times nobody understands that until maybe later, because that was a step towards something. So it's this chaos, it's this cacophonous noise and static that we're trying to navigate through. And I think a lot of us are trying to clutch to too many objects that we previously would have successfully used to support our truths. But now we're feeling more and more abandoned, but it really is just, it's illustrating that the greater the degree that we are abandoned, the more and more, the closer we're being sort of nudged to ourselves as a source of truth. Because God is within us and through us all of the time. The universe, we are the universe. The universe is us. It's like drop of water in an ocean. The ocean is in the drop. The drop is from the ocean, is of the ocean. How do you distinguish one from the other? But those drops are important not because they're one with the ocean or not, but the drops, rain is a sequence of drops. So it's the act of the raining itself, not the quality of the rain being rain that matters more. Does this make any sense? This is really abstract. I don't know why it's coming up abstract for you today.
I'm getting it.
Yeah, awesome. I because
There's a lot of things that I will say or write down, and then I have to go back later and try to wrap my head around it.
do you ever
So
wrap your heart around it? I just heard that. Someone just said, "Do you ever wrap your heart around it?" Rhetorical question. I think
sometimes
it's
I don't know how to separate heart and head.
I know. I feel like that. A female said that. I feel like it's a female voice. Is that your mom?
Yeah,
Your mom
mom's
came up.
passed. Our mom's alive still.
Doesn't matter. I pick up living
Okay,
people. as well. It's
Oh,
happened
okay.
on lots of different occasions. It's wild. I know it's pretty amazing to me too. Um,
I I have once in a while felt like I was talking to a live person, but I wasn't actually talking to them. It was kind of like a higher self conversation. I don't know. It was strange. It hasn't happened for a while.
that is you, and it is also God. They want me to say it that way because it's not one or the other as distinct from one, because there needs to be an understanding of how powerful your agency is and that you serve yourself, even if you don't recognize it. It's why we're here. It's why you've gone through everything that you've gone through. It's also part and parcel of what your roles on earth are here to be, especially in the future. You came here with, like me, we've done many decades of build up, and then we're going to see in the latter parts of our lives what impact we can really make that we've felt deficient of for those decades, all those years. It seems like walking uphill or making one step forward, getting three steps backward kind of thing, and just barely surviving. But a lot of that has just been a build up for what's coming. Because a
Yeah,
lot of
wondering when
people,
I sometimes wonder when I'm going to arrive. You know,
you
when
are
that.
you are arriving. Your whole life has been an arriving, and it will continue to be so, even past your death. Because when you live again, it will be continuing. It will be a continuation of that. And again and again and again. But that's gonna blow up your brain. Because that's something I try to avoid saying to people sometimes because then we start thinking ahead of ourselves. And it kind of defeats the purpose of the life right now. I mean, a lot of the muck that we go through is military training. I don't know why I came out that way. Military training. Maybe to appease your soul because you've been a lot of warriors. We've talked about this before, I feel. Haven't we?
Yeah,
About
yeah,
German? Yeah, it feels like German. So I think seeing it that way is more compatible for your soul to be like, "Oorah, we're gonna get into this, got to do it." But this time the fighting isn't necessarily so physical, but it is gonna be physical, but it's not gonna be like picking up a sword and go stabbing someone. It's gonna be like providing for and forming a community because I see you as a leader and as a bastion of truth and hope for people that are destitute and looking for community. And this is in the future. They're giving me permission to tell you a little bit about it because I see you in the forest. I see you in a forested area with trees. The environment has trees, and it gives me like a central to western United States vibe to it. And there's maybe like an accumulation of a community that took 3 years in the making that you guys have finally stopped and decided to set shop in and create a community there that was isolated enough so that you could actually have some longevity to what you're building and what you're creating instead of having to be nomadic all the time. There are groups of people on the earth that will be like that. I will have to continuously move from one place to another to avoid persecution or as a result of persecution. Um, but you guys, like, you'll have been vagabonding around for like 3 years and you'll have arrived at this spot in the forest that has all the resources where it needs to be. And you've got like this self-sufficient community. It's not too big, but you've all decided, hey, we're going to set up shop here because it seems like this is kind of a dead zone and people aren't focusing on it so much. And we've got about as much privacy as we can get We're going to do something here. And then it's not just about the physical provision of that. It's about what those relationships mean for you and for them. Because it seems like everybody in that community has trust to build with others because they have trust to build within themselves. Hmm. You have any clue as to why you would be deemed ready to hear that now?
Because I've been thinking about homesteading and kind of more off the grid type stuff.
Be patient with it. Don't ever let that up. If it's something meaningful and worthwhile, okay, here. This message is coming through right now. I'm going to share it with you. It was given to me, but they're telling me to pass it along, and I want you to pass this along to the person when it's right, when you feel it's right for the right person. Whenever you're confused about which battles are worthy of fighting, ask yourself the following question. Is it going to matter? Is it worth dying on this hill 5 years from now? If yes, die on the hill. If no, let it go. People, places, things, ideas, resources, prospects, all of it. The 5 year mark could be three for you too, but I mean, that might be like 2 years later. So, uh, yeah.
Funny you should use that wording. Um, my description of my son's line in the sand right now is, I guess this is the hill he's chosen to die
Oh my God. That is wild. I had a psychic reading done for myself, and it's the third psychic reading I've had done in probably 8 or 9 years. I very, very rarely get a reading done unless my guides make it very apparent that I do that. And I was watching a program and I saw a psychic talking about big picture things, and my guides were like, dude, reach out to her. You need a reading. And I was like, really? Do I really need a reading? Like, they're like, yep. I'm like, all right, whatever. And that was one thing she told me that has really stuck with me because she said that for me too. She's like, look, for the priority, look at it and say, okay, this hill, is it worth dying on for 5 years? Like, is it going to matter 5 years from now? If not, let it go. That's how much churning there's going to be and how much it will feel like the sands will shift. There's going to be a lot of change. There's a lot more change coming for us. As crazy as that sounds, we all feel like, oh, holy shit, it's a lot of change now, but it's really going to rack up. Like it is. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's going to suck in a lot of ways, but it's going to be so inspiring in other ways. And we've got to be brave. We've got to stand up for what actually matters. Life and death will come and go, but we've been so far removed from the intimacy of our own mortality that we're afraid of these things, myself included. I'm still afraid of death, you know? And I was reminded of that a couple of days ago. Despite having, well, it could be because I've been so close to death so many times. Because I always thought I wasn't before until I had a real experience happen. And then again, and then again, I was like, holy shit. But that might be a reflection of my soul realizing there's things I want to do here. There's purposes I have to flesh out here. So it could be less about just being afraid of death itself and more about, am I fulfilling my life?
Yeah, I want to finish before I go.
Yeah, my actions are inactions. It's not just about finishing. It's about accomplishing or applying oneself. And sometimes that means a not doing as well, just as much as a doing, because a not doing is a doing. And a doing is a not doing because you have to make a choice. Whenever you make a choice to do something, you're making a subsequent choice to not do something else.
Hmm.
Mm. I just saw cherries, like black cherries, Monterey cherries. Okay. That's specific.
It is specific.
It's very specific. It's the reddish yellowish ones that have the little kind of like changes and spots and stuff. Those are
I
Monterey's,
thought
aren't
they
they?
were. I thought they were Rainier.
They could be. I
I'm not
heard
sure.
Monterey, but I'm seeing it's a reddish yellowish kind of one.
I just planted a cherry tree, but it's not either one of those.
Hmm. I don't know what that means.
Hmm.
That's for you to understand, not for me. I'm
Well,
also
I will. I'm
like
writing it down so that I remember. But
I'm
yeah,
also
it's not.
seeing like T-bone steaks, like beef, like shank. It's got like a little slice of bone in the middle. Or
Yeah,
those aren't T-bones. It's what are those called? It's not a porterhouse. It's
like a round steak.
yeah, yep. It's like a slice of the femur or whatever. It's got some
Yeah, you use them
bone.
to make, soup stock and
Yep,
things like
yep,
that to
yep.
get all the gooey stuff from the inside.
Mm-hmm. About that big. I don't know what that's about. Maybe you need some B vitamins. Maybe you're gonna be raising cattle, or maybe people need some nourishment around you.
I feed a lot of people. I mean,
Hmm.
that's just something I enjoy doing. I like making meals for my family and friends and things like that. So
Mm-hmm. How's your
it
daughter doing?
lets me get my witchy cauldron out.
They're asking like,
She's
yeah, from your perspective, they want you to speak it.
yeah.
Because we had a session. It was like finally, you want to say like you convinced her, but I she appreciates the support. It's just she had her just like your husband. She takes longer. Her process is her process. You can't invade her process. She's got to be the one to decide for herself, so she feels safe when she comes to her conclusions.
She is very scared.
Yeah, in a
She right now we know that she does is cancer free.
hmm,
However, she is just filled with anxiety about it coming back.
hmm,
And where do I go from here? When you're in the battle, you're in the moment, and you're taking just one step at a time. You're just trying to get through it. And now that
hmm,
that part of it is done, it's kind of like, now what do I do?
hmm.
What do I do with myself? How do I continue?
The interesting thing about cancer is with every mention of it that I've come across, it all relates to anger and the suppression of the anger or a lack of expressing anger in a healthy way. So I guess I can say it with you, but don't share this with her because she has to go through this process herself and make the decision for herself. It is absolutely crucial, Cathy, that she makes this decision for herself.
Yeah,
But she knows what she has to do regarding her father and with the walking on eggshells portion of it, because that's reflecting her own suppression of the inner voice. When you suppress your voice and you learn how to do that for many, many years, that can seed a lot of different diseases, but especially when that voice is an angry one and you suppress it long enough with certain environmental conditions, that will metastasize into cancer. Cancer is anger, it's
she,
resentment, it's bitterness and hatred. That's what it is. And it's
yeah.
years and years and years of that culminating. Sometimes younger people get it because they have that unfinished business following them from previous lifetimes that they thought they could just drop it and let it be. But then they come in, they got
She's
to learn something about it.
getting she's getting better about not stuffing things so much and saying something at the time
Hmm.
instead of just taking whatever is being thrown at her and walking
Hmm.
away and being angry on her own. So
Right.
she's learning to vocalize things a little bit.
it's the sheer levels of ridiculousness that he will get to that she has to see again and again and again being shattered because it's almost like she thinks it couldn't get worse than this, and then it does. And she's like, holy shit. And then it's like that boom, 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 one, two, three. Third time's the charm. I'm gonna learn and be like, okay, I'm gonna drop him and like go no contact or something if it does get to that, which I just heard it should. So that's her decision, though.
Mm.
It's always our decision, which is the most difficult part for you. Um, because you'd be willing to
Oh,
take it, you'd be willing to take it over for her to do it for her, but there's actually no way to do it for her.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I would have taken anything that, my kids went through and done it
Mm-hmm.
myself,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't. So,
And you shouldn't either, because it doesn't help anyone. It's a quick placation. It's a temporary fix for a future problem.
yeah.
And the more you do
I
that, it's
mean,
like borrowing. It's like what our government does with the budget.
right. Well, they just print more money.
All right. Yeah. Well, it does solve something, but it doesn't. It does the opposite for a solution for the other side of it, like the greater perspective of it. It's like if one gear in a watch goes bad, you can
Yeah. And
fix.
I mean, the mom in me wants to protect and take care of.
Mhm.
And the other part of me is like, I'm not going to be around forever. They have to have the tools to be able to take care of themselves.
Well, technically, even after you pass, you probably will guide her in every capacity that you can, because
I've
that's
I've
what
already said that I probably will haunt them.
you can do that too. You can scare the shit out of them.
I've only said that to my husband. I told him, I'm like, because you do not believe in anything, I will haunt the shit out of you
Mm,
if I go first.
you won't.
I don't think I will either.
No, he will.
So
But there's more things about the dynamic between you and him that you don't yet understand because he's a very important relationship for you and has been throughout your life, but you've got a lot more
it's
that you
been
can.
a very hard relationship.
Yeah, but he's here to teach you so many different things. He's here to show you all the different weak points. That's why he's very pestilent. He's very pick person. He's like picks. Like he's like a mosquito that will always find whatever button. And it's like you think that you've worn enough layers this time, you learned your lesson. It's like, oh yeah, but here's another lesson. Boom, zing you in the ass right here. So,
Yeah,
mm,
let's just be pecked to death by a chicken.
hmm. So you and your daughter might catalyze one another. It's important to see what the other is going through from your own personal lens, because it's so easy for her to project onto others like you do to her the love that you want and deserve within yourself. As an empath, this is what we do. And in doing that, our danger is that we lose sight of ourselves being a recipient of that type of love that we are granting to others or wishing to grant to others. So she's got the same thing going on that you do, where you both have something really beautiful where you want the benefit of everybody to be achieved. But the part that's still a little bit distorted is feeling like um, letting go of somebody isn't cruel, isn't abandonment, but it can sometimes be the opposite. Neither of you believe that yet, because I don't think it's gotten that loud yet, but it will with him for both of you, because he's not going to get better. He's going to get worse.
Yeah, he was. I mean, more at the beginning of our relationship was much worse than he is now too.
Really. So he's doing like a one of these.
Kind of.
He still has a lot hidden because he likes to lock things up too, just like all of you guys. That's one thing that really
Yeah.
aligns with all of you.
He he shares nothing about his childhood.
Hmm. Because he wants to erase it, but that will not be erased. But the thing is, the most dangerous thing about him is that when he can no longer contain it, it all erupts forth, and it usually comes at one of the most vulnerable times for the people that's around him. So it's not like he aims the gun at you and shoots. It's more like the lightning bolt erupts and you're in the vicinity, which is the most difficult part of this because you do love him, you do care about him, and so does she. And he loves and cares about you guys too. But it's just that the dynamic itself, there's been no ownership of this because he is so full of shame and blame as his premier coping mechanism that's calcified into his body. It's not just his mind, it's in his body now. Whereas I feel if he were to get to a point where he would have to let this go, he would get physically ill, even with that as a healing process. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So he might get way, way, way sick before he can get better if he does decide to let that go. Because he's held onto it that long and he's fed into it that long. And he's bought the same narrative that his father before him, and then his father before him, and then his father before him were all doing to cope with the abuse.
He he's an awful lot like my mom. There's a lot of similarities there, and
Mm,
that tells you where I was at. I continued that relationship with my mother through him.
hmm hmm Yeah, the psychic reading that I got, I'll share a little bit with you. She picked up on my mother, and I didn't give her any information, but she said that I betrayed myself to a certain point because when I should have been so completely intolerant of their, not just my mother, but my father too, their complete lack of consideration for me, their complete disrespect of me, and I allowed it. This was in my 20s. Like I put up with it. I could have made the decision to go no contact then, but I didn't. So I did betray myself in a certain way. There's a little bit of element of that too going on with you, um, that we're healing through now, pertaining to your mother, because we love so much that we will bend and twist and contort ourselves to fit the paradigm of whatever the person we love has going on in their psyche, even if it's incredibly toxic. And especially if it's hurting us, because we think, oh, I can shoulder that pain. I can take those hits. And maybe you can, but you can't do that forever. Something's going to
No,
break and snap. And for me, it was my health. It
mine too.
broke. Yeah. And, it was not by coincidence or bad luck or anything that when I was at my sickest, by the time so I got really sick in uh, Taiwan, and then I moved back. I remember the last phone call I had with my mother before I moved back to the US. Here's the picture. I was in the hospital. I had the umpteenth heart attack, whatever number it was. They were testing me, poking me, prodding me, trying to figure out everything. I was alone in the hospital. I had one visitor, but they were mandated by my then girlfriend who was in the UK studying for her master's. And she commanded her sister to go visit me because she knew that all of my so-called friends that I made in Taiwan, they all flippin' abandoned me all at once. And then, anyway, I had a conversation with my mom after I got the results back, and they said, "Look, we've got good news and bad news. The good news is that we know what you're sick with. Bad news is from our medical text, there's no cure for it. It looks like you're going to have it the rest of your life. So we need to monitor you. So at that time, that's what I knew. And so I reached out to my mom. I called and she was crying and she was like, come back, you're going to be fixed. We're going to take care of you, blah, 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 blah. But in that moment, even before I had really gone through my first big spiritual awakening transition back to myself, acknowledging what I am, what my gifts are. Because before then, I had just dismissed this and that left and right, just like my father and my mother too. She's very dismissive. Um, I had this huge pit in my throat and stomach as she was saying that because I was like, this is a fucking lie. And part of the inner child, I remember in that moment said, this is going to be so much worse than high school. This is going to be just like it because when I was all throughout high school, even middle school, I could not wait until I was 18 to get the fuck out of there. That hell pit. Oh my God.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, now I'm really sick. I'm vulnerable. My parents are offering this. I don't have any, but I felt at the time, I don't have any other options. So I went back home and then I lived with them for a total of like 3 or 4 years, and it got worse and worse and worse. I was not getting any better. I was getting sicker and it was getting really violent. My father was starting to get violent again with me. My mother was getting dismissive. And the thing about my mother is that she enables my father and she abandons me. She very easily, readily abandoned me. And she's done that again and again and again and again and again. And so when I was at my worst, they kicked me out. And then my mother had no spine to uh, support me or anything. And so they found an apartment for me against my will. They signed it and they were like, you're not coming back. And then when I got into that apartment, as in like the first week, I had this massive bed bug infestation. And I was getting reactions from it. And at that moment, I just like remember I was sobbing in my room one night and I was like, just fucking take me, God. Why did you do this? And so it's like sometimes we betray ourselves to that extent, but even as sucky as that is, it was a crucial step for me. I've learned from that. I've seen that and I've, through healing my trauma, that's important. That says a lot. It's such a crucial part of it. Sometimes when we have hearts of gold like that and we're also dismissive ourselves, um, we need to be shocked sometimes to get to a certain decision or something that's better for everybody involved. It's just easy that we just throw ourselves under the bus because it would be easier because we're not convinced that by sticking up for ourselves, it's going to be a situation that everybody is best served. Because we're feeling and picking up the condemnation and the just the really mixed, confused feelings that abusers feel because they were abused themselves. So we get caught up in that and we end up feeling that what we pick up from others is our own compass, our own feeling telling us something. So that's how we keep ourselves locked in these situations and making poor choices, thinking it's the best choice for all involved when it's actually the worst choice for all involved in the long run. Does that make any sense, what I just said?
Yeah.
Hmm. Sweet potato. I just saw a sweet potato. What that's about. Yeah.
So there's a couple other things that I've been thinking about the last couple of weeks.
Mm.
Um, and they have to, funny, you should bring up UFOs and alien type stuff because that's what it's about.
Ooh, okay.
Um, when I was probably somewhere around 5 or 6, I swear that I saw a very large light that was in a field out
You told
past
me
our
about
house.
that. I remember. Yeah.
And I don't know if it was real or not. My brother used to always make fun of me that it was not what I thought it was.
It's real.
But he didn't. But he didn't see it. I did.
It's
I don't know
as
if
real.
anybody else saw it.
It's as real as it could ever be.
So then, um, after that, there were one time in particular that I remember, the first time I remember it ever happening. I was in the car by myself waiting for everybody else to get in. They were still in the house. And um, my hearing kind of shuts down. It it's all, I don't know how to describe it. It is kind of a strange, almost tunneling, like if you get water in both ears and you can't really hear anything
Hmm.
outside, but there's that muffled, and then there's kind of a frequency or a pitch, and it doesn't last long,
Hmm.
um, 2, 3 minutes maybe, and then it goes away. And
Mm.
when I was a kid, the first thing I thought of was, hmm, was I actually abducted and they put something in my ears or some sort of tracking? That's where I spun out and went to. I had a conversation with my brother a
They didn't
couple of days
abduct you.
ago.
They didn't abduct you.
Yeah, I don't think so
But,
either now, but as a
but,
kid, I thought they did.
but here's the thing. They they brought you aboard their ship. You agreed to it. You wanted it. But because of the environment, they had to assist your biology so that when you went back, you wouldn't have severe issues. So they did it to help you. They didn't do it to harm you. It's kind of like we put a spacesuit on before we go out into space because we have to. Maybe other
Mm,
beings that live in space don't need that because they've adapted for it. But because of the way they use anti-gravity, because of the way the ship moves, here's how the ships move, right? There's no propulsion. They pull space-time around their craft. So the craft is stationary in space and time, and they warp space and time around them. From us, it looks like it's moving, but it's really we're moving. We're being moved because we're within the fabric of space and time. And so, because of us being human, we have physiological effects that happen because of that. They didn't put any device or anything into you like that, but they did use frequency and they used vibrational methods to kind of like recalibrate you back. So the ringing that you felt was kind of like the last little what's a good analogy?
it still happens once in a while.
Mm. Do you have like visions or memories or anything um proceeding after these events about extraterrestrials or about other worlds or any kind of like big
Not that
hint?
I, not that
Okay.
I can think of. I have, it's something that has, I mean, from the time I can remember, has always been of interest to me.
So you've been
Um,
revisiting back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
and then
Okay.
there was one night I was in bed. Um, I got up, I went to the bathroom, I went back to bed, and before I fell back to sleep again, my window was open and I heard a noise that is indescribable. I don't even know how to describe it. And I sat straight up in bed and I listened. I wanted to know where it was coming from and how long it was going to last, and if today was the day that they were going to actually come, because it sounded like heavy metal scraping along with like angelic horns. It
Uh-huh.
was the weirdest noise, and all I could think of was, is there a portal opening somewhere?
Mm.
And it that lasted maybe 3 or 4 minutes. I was trying to wrap my head around it,
You're
and
right about
eventually,
it. It is a portal. It's the use of their technology and it reverberates from other dimensions because these people don't come from this dimension.
it was loud.
Yeah, but here's the weird thing. It's only loud to you.
Exactly, because I asked everybody else if they heard
Nothing.
anything,
Nothing.
and nobody heard anything.
It's because it's for you. Here's the thing, Kathy. You were never willing to remember everything they told you when you came on board, but it's almost like you've been in training for many years, getting up to a certain point where you will remember and retain everything, but only when you're ready. And that will be at the times of this community,
Okay.
whatever you've got
And
going
then
on.
I got a weird phone call um, from no one on at 1 a.m. about, I think it was Thursday or Friday.
Mm.
I go to bed late most of the time.
Mhm.
I got ready for bed. I'm standing beside the bed and putting my glasses down, and the phone rang. And I picked it up. Nothing there. Nothing showed up on caller ID.
Three letter agency.
Really.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And we
Don't
have a
worry.
lot of
You're divinely protected by that. Don't worry about that.
there's a there's a lot of activity,
Mhm.
um, helicopters and things like that in this area.
Anything mankind could try to do to thwart that is nothing compared to who you're working with. Never forget that. These people bend space and time, no matter how no matter how advanced the technology is here on Earth or whatever organization wants this or that, you're untouchable in that sense. So stick to your, what was the word? I just had it come up and now it floated away. You've pledged your allegiance to these people when you were a little girl, but you couldn't remember that as a little girl. That would have is too much. Your psyche would have broken. And that's why across decades, you've had little periods of time here and there give you a little bit more, they give you a little bit more, but you don't remember it with your working mind. But but your body remembers and your soul knows about this, which is why you've never not sensed this every time that it's occurred. You know, it's like Men in Black, they put up those things that goes, choo. They're like,
Oh,
it's kind of like
right.
that, but like there's a part of you that knows just enough to keep you motivated for the next time it comes around because it's kind of beautiful. It's like all of these subsequent times they've visited you, your anxiety and your fear has been a little bit less and less and less and less, which is why it feels like to me those symptoms with your ears and everything have become less and less intense as time goes on.
Well, and strange thing is, a few days ago, I had a conversation with my little brother. He's almost 15 years younger than me,
Mm.
and out of the blue brought up the fact that he has this weird ear thing too. And he's like, I don't know how to describe it. And I said, I know exactly what you're talking about because it happens to me.
Mm.
So,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's an
but
endowment.
he didn't hear the portal thing because he was one that I asked right away. My younger sister and my younger brother we're the
They,
closest out of our family. So,
you're a lot further along for them to trust than he is. Here's the thing from their perspective, they know we're, I'll use this as an analogy. It's like how we treat animals. We trust cats and dogs, but try to teach a cat algebra.
yeah.
There are some cats that are a lot closer to learning algebra than others. It's like that. That's all it is. It's like from their perspective, they they love and they respect us, right? That's why they're working with you. It's just like some human beings, some people will work with, I respect earthworms. Just the other day, I stayed at a buddy of mine's in Osceola to get to St. Cloud, and she's got this big, expansive house and land, and she's got this big fire pit and tons of fallen logs everywhere. And we were collecting wood for like 3 bonfires that we had. And I rolled over the wood, was about to put it on the fire, and I see these earthworms. And any person could just be like, ah, whatever, throw it in. But I was knocking on it and I was like, hey, you need to get out. I cared enough to pull the earthworms out before I burn them alive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there are species and groups of certain species in the universe that care about us in the same kind of way. Not to say that you're an earthworm, but like comparatively, if you look at it that way, that's a good analogy to use, you know? So your brother is less convincible. That's not the word. I'm sorry. He's just been exposed less than you. So he's got a little bit more of a learning curve as far as that entails, but he's also requested them far less than you have. You've called for them, right? You've asked, like, hey, show up. Maybe not literally. Sometimes you do literally though in your head, but you'll walk a lot of times you'll walk outside, you'll look up at the stars and be like, gosh, that'd be great. And you'll envision like ships coming or contact coming, or just let your mind wander as to what is. And you'll get really complex thoughts that are hard to put words to, and really interesting visions where it's like you couldn't possibly draw whatever you saw. So you're in
And
you're
then
in you're in training with that.
and on the flip side of that, I have always been afraid of the dark a bit, more so when I was a kid. I mean, I slept with the light on from the time I was
Me too.
3 or 4 until I was probably 11.
That has everything to do with shadow people and demons also. Because
I grew up on a farm,
shadow people are interdimensional travelers, but they are not well intended,
right?
intentioned. They want to fuck with us. Uh, so so they know all of our insecurities and they can travel through time and space. So they're not limited by time and space. That's what that
And
has to do with.
I still have a little bit of that fear outside at night.
Mm-hmm. Fear
I
not,
can't see I can't see enough to know what's there.
because you're looking with the wrong lens. You're trying to use your physical eyes too much. Don't use your
Well,
physical eye.
and then there's the fear that I am afraid of what I might see.
Sure, but that's only because you don't quite yet. You're getting there though. You don't quite yet fully entrust yourself as an empowered being that you are. This is the ironic thing, is what I'm hearing from this species that you've been in touch with. They're saying that you've been brave enough to work with them. When you'll get to a certain threshold where that won't scare you anymore, because you'll have witnessed the miracles of life and also what you have requested and allowed. Your role as a human being in your connection with them, your contact with them, and what you're doing with them is going to reveal itself little by little with each passing day, and especially in the next 2 years. The fear isn't unfounded. It's just that you don't trust yourselves. You don't trust your own volition because you're still looking for like a concrete truth in that matter, in that sense, like which is a very third dimensional kind of thing. It's like, oh, if I only had this hammer or this specific set of goggles that'll protect me. It's like you once you get past that, knowing that you can create the goggles essentially, or you can align yourself to the goggles, depending on what you discern and focus on. Anything that you see is going to be there. And if you're looking for it subconsciously, it will show up. But there's always a reason as to why you're looking for it subconsciously. That matters way more than the actual seeing of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What's rising within to bring the focus there or to, I should say, to bring the receptivity there to calibrate and allow for what is out there to be shown. Because here's the fact of matter: if you saw everything that's there, you'd blow up. Everything that's there and not there, it'd be too much to see. So there has to be some sort of wavelength or some sort of level that you choose. And some of it is conscious and some of it is subconscious. But the subconscious ones is where the fear's at. But what's more important to focus on and to ask yourself and to reach out for guidance on is the question, why do I fear that as a possibility? What's under that? What's underneath that? And to me, it centers around the theme of volition. What is my agency with myself? Because you want to feel more in control of yourself, essentially. That's one crude way to put it. You want to trust yourself. You want to trust the universe that you're not going to go somewhere that's not beneficial to you. Because part of you is like, what is beneficial to me? That's a good question to ask. It's not a bad question to ask. But you feel insecure in the asking of it because you feel like, why am I even asking this? I must only be asking this because I don't know and I'm vulnerable. There's a subconscious assumption there. So I want you to journal about that. Next time you feel that fear of the dark or of the darkness, of the evil, of the stuff that you can't see, ask yourself, why do I fear this? And write down anything and everything that'll come up. I don't care how ridiculous it sounds, or even if nothing comes up at the moment, or if it comes up later. So keep that notepad on you, or like make it a pocket one, or on your smartphone have like a notes app ready to go, or a voice recorder.
Okay. Yeah, I have a voice recorder.
Yeah,
I've
I
been
love
recording dreams.
it's the only way to do it, in my opinion, my experience. Because if you have a notepad, it's like good luck remembering what you're
The
writing about like 5 seconds into it.
So let me ask you this: do you have a species? Are
Me?
you getting? No, are they
Oh,
giving you the species?
I guess so. Okay, so I vetted this answer because the first thing I heard, I doubted it. They're Arcturian, which is the same that works with me.
Okay, are
I
they
even-
bird-like?
Oh, you're seeing them too?
Um, in my dreams,
Are they blue?
I I can't get a color, but it's gigantic and
Yeah,
it's
they're
on my house.
yeah, they're big. They're really big. They don't actually live on planets. They live in interstellar space
Okay, so this bird,
in little hubs.
do
And they're involved. They're okay, so they're like the telegraph company. That's what they are. Okay? They're the communications network. They're like the operators.
and what are they?
What are they? They're big bird-like looking things. But they don't actually walk on. They're not entirely physical. They're mostly non-physical, but they are spread all throughout the universe, and they're in charge of the network of communications across everybody. That's what I know about them. I know one other friend who has a connection with them. She was one in a past life. And she's about the most ungrounded person I've ever met in my life. Her head is constantly in the clouds with everything. She's had a very tumultuous life, but um,
Yeah,
they're operators.
this was on my house. It wasn't this house; it was a different house. I saw it kind of walking on my roof, and I'm like, "Oh, why is it on my roof? And why is it here?" And then it decided to just take a piss off the side of my roof, like a man would off the side of a hill.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe this one's got a sense of humor or something. But it's never like the way I see it is they deliver the messages, but they're not the messages.
Okay.
So someone was screwing with you or something. But I think it was to lighten you up a little bit, maybe. That's the kind of feeling I get.
Yeah, because I just kind of looked up and I'm like, what the fuck?
Did you eat cheese that night?
No.
Maybe it's a little bit of mixing with that.
I gotta turn my light on, Hanson.
Yeah. This is the last thing I'll give you, but then I got to get going about that
Yeah,
bird.
I know we've been
The
going
reason,
to way
no,
too
it's
long, probably.
it's fine. The pee, the piss. So here's what can happen sometimes. They can come through, but then you've got layers of your psyche, right? And it's like or it's like a sandbox or it's like a filter. So the liquid comes in pure, but then if you've got certain things in your filter that you're working on at a different level, as that comes through, it kind of taints it a little bit. It kind of colors it a certain hue. So you had a little bit of a mixture of that. So I feel like it was whatever was within your working mind. It had to do with your husband. I feel like you were like trying to sort something out in your subconscious about him. And this bird came through, but it mixed with that aspect of your subconscious working mind that presented it in a certain flare. And that's
Okay.
what that was about. Because it does, when I'm diving into it, it doesn't seem entirely real. It seems like a little bit dreamlike.
And it wasn't a dream. I mean,
Right. But I
I
want to
went
say it's almost like 25% dream and 75% real.
okay because that dream coupled with the phone call, both times, both things that happened, my first thought was Mothman.
No, something's playing on your fear. It could be a shadow
Okay.
person too, trying to
Well,
fuck with
you
you,
know,
which
we've
would
dealt with something here before, so
that before
when
was a demon. And we've
okay,
has it come back?
I'm not really feeling like that, but then again,
That's great. No, don't
I
doubt it.
keep
Don't doubt it. You don't feel it.
I keep saying um, you're not allowed here anymore. So
Well, great.
I I generally it's when I'm sitting by myself downstairs or when I come up
Hmm.
the stairs by myself at night. Um, I always have that thought of am I going to get shoved down the stairs?
Well,
Uh,
that's the PTSD part of you because you've had a lot thrown at you, physically and spiritually. What you can do, is you can put evil eyes on the entrances to the house, and you can also buy white cedar,
okay,
or you can find some. Actually, a lot grows up there. And you can make like a smudge stick of it or something, or you can snip it off and then hang it upside down to dry. You can either hang that above each space, each entry point. You can put it under a mat, like a rug on the outside or on the inside of each entryway, or you can burn it to
okay,
enhance your declaration. And whenever you feel like your house needs more clearing that way, or more, it's not clearing really, but it's like declaration, you know, um, supplementation, then just do it. Don't question it. A
okay,
little goes a long way with white sage, or excuse me, white cedar, white, not sage, cedar, white cedar. Um,
okay,
a little goes a long way with it. It's extremely potent and it removes negative vibrations and energies and entities better than any other smudge.
okay. Because yeah, what I have right now is Palo Santo and white sage. So
Now, white sage doesn't quite cut it for stuff like that. White sage works for earthbound entities. But when we're talking about like interdimensional stuff, you need white cedar. You need something really powerful that's going to cut straight through it. Palo Santo is great. It doesn't always remove negative entities, but it transforms negative energy into positive energy.
okay,
Or I should say, it transforms lower vibrations into higher vibrations. So if you like were to smudge your entire house with Palo Santo enough, you might like pass out. because that cannot always be healthy sometimes. I mean, because you have a physical body which is vibrating lower than other parts, right? But you still need one to operate within this realm. Like if you vibrate high enough, you cannot survive here, which is kind of
Right.
a little bit of a silliness about the metaphysical community. Sometimes they're just like vibrate high. That's all we need to do. It's like, yeah, you can do that. There's a shortcut. You can like burn yourself, or you can like jump off a cliff and leave, or
Right.
you can
Right.
starve. You can actually, that's a better analogy. You can starve yourself. That'll raise your vibration so high that you literally pull out of your body, you know? So it's important to look at things in a balanced way that way too.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, let's do
Okay.
that and reconvene in a couple of weeks. But
Okay.
your house feels a lot lighter. The only thing too though is you've got a little bit too much dirty electricity happening. So if you can do anything to like make that a little bit better,
It has always been that way in this house. I've had it checked a
um,
couple of times.
old wiring or something.
No, it's a newer house. It's a newer home.
Oh, maybe that's why.
And
There's just too much plugged in here and there. Try to limit what's plugged in all the time if you can.
I
Something's
don't
unplugged.
like to have things plugged in. I have a thing about that. I will go and unplug things, whatever I
Yep, me
think
too.
needs to be.
Me too. Sometimes I'll actually hear the whirring and the screaming and the whistling of
Hmm.
it'll go
Yeah,
like that. And I'm like, fuck, that hurts. So I just pull it
I
out.
know. I
Yep.
tune in. I have a plasma TV downstairs, and that thing sometimes drives me insane because I
Mhm.
tune into it.
It's too much radioactivity. It's literally
Yeah,
radioactive. Radiation is coming out. That's why it'll heat you up too. It's literally like a microwave with the door open.
yeah.
There's a book about that called The Invisible Rainbow. You should look into that. It's really cool.
Let me write it down.
Yeah, I forget who it's by, but it's a guy who went to medical school and he's a scientist. So this is all like empiricism. It's all empirical data. And he's very left-brained, but he went to medical school and he got damaged from X-ray poisoning. And that led him down this path in life to research all of this different stuff. But he's an activist who's trying to change the regulations in the United States and trying to get people on board to realize just how dangerous and toxic our world has become with radio electric frequencies that are just arguably COVID, autoimmune disease, the psychological epidemic, all of it could be attributed simply to the grid that we've got going on. I mean, it all has a spiritual significance to it, but if you want to look at it empirically only, there's a lot of evidence that shows it can all be linked back to electricity and how we've done it. Even going back to the very first telegraph poles that were put down, the very first telephone lines that were put down, the first radio signal towers that were put down. He's cited everything. And in fact, that book has a 128-page bibliography of sources alone.
Wow.
So, yeah, he really put a lot of thought and work into it. But there's a lot of correlation with that. Like the 1918 flu pandemic, it happened immediately after they laid down a bunch of telephone wires and laid the foundation for that. And then the 5G rolled out, but we forgot about that, right? And then what happened in
Mm,
2020? COVID.
yeah, I know.
So COVID itself could literally be the effects of 5G. Um, but it's a rabbit hole, so you'll appreciate it. But he was even saying that viruses might not even exist. It might just be this, and then they're just using that as a scapegoat. Oh, it's this, it's virus, whatever. Because there's actually not a whole lot of literature about viruses to tell us conclusively what the fuck they even are. And they might not
Right.
even exist. It might just be particles or debris of things, but they can't
Yeah.
replicate things. So, but anyway, I got to get going here. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
I will try and do more journaling, and yeah, we'll see what strangeness ensues in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's a pleasure as always. And then maybe we'll get into some healing for the next week.
Yeah.
It's kind of up in the air for now. They're showing me, maybe not.
Okay.
If there is, it might even be a little bit and not like a full enchilada kind of thing. I don't
Okay.
pretend that I always know why, but I typically have a good picture of why after the fact. I just follow what they tell me because the healing is very powerful and we don't want to do too much, too little. It's very, very important
Right.
with everybody. I've done that before and it's not, I've learned. So,
Okay.
all right.
Great. Thank you. I
See you
appreciate
later.
it.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Next
You
time.
too. Bye.
Bye.